rifling through those long boxes.
It's gotta be here, it's gotta be here, it's gotta be here. Aha! Here it is!
And bagging those books.
I'm out of bags and boards again.
Welcome to your home for Star Wars comics.
The Cosmic Force Podcast,
A Youtini Podcast Network production. And now, here are your hosts, Parker Kirk, Caleb Lamanek, and Jacob Bosch.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cosmic Force. My name's Jacob. Yet again, not Parker. Unfortunately, he cannot join us this week. But hey, we're here to talk all about the newest that Star Wars comics have to offer. And I'm joined once again by Caleb Lamanek. Caleb, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. We got a really fun issue to talk about here in Dark Droids. So, Dark Droids D Squad, a very specific one. And, if you were missing Parker, from last week, that's okay. We still have our same great, guest co-host here, the one and only Oz. Oz, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah, last week you called me a guest host or a co-host, and now I guess it's starting to seem like that's a reality. So get out of here, Parker.
Oh, well, we're all happy to be back. Is Oz our first choice, or did I just remember that Tim is out on work travel all this month? You will never know. But anyways, yeah, Oz doesn't know. It's between me and my direct messages on Slack. Well, having said all that, you're joining us for the first time. Welcome back. And if you're a return viewer, I guess also welcome back. We are here as the Cosmic Force, your Star Wars comics podcast on the Youtini Podcast Network, which can be found right on youtube.com/Youtini every other Wednesday. And also wherever you get your podcasts, whether that is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you can do it on Patreon. You can do it on Google Podcasts. If you like what you hear or what you see and you want to say thanks, you can go out and check us out on that Patreon channel, patreon.com/Youtini, where for as little as $5 a month, you can gain exclusive access to all of our bonus content, whether that be Star Wars Archives or Dice Wars. Heck yeah. If you like Caleb and you want to hear more of him.
A little bit very shortly. We just finished it up. So, as soon as I can record the episode 0, the prequel episode, I'm doing George Lucas style. I'm doing all the pre-work first, and I'll go back in time and do episode 0.
Oh, nice. Are you going to be doing here's everyone's character builds? Is that like how are we going all the way back there, or
kind of like essentially like episode 0 will be like a describing of like kind of an overview of like the what the game system actually is and like how the actual rules work. So it's not like homework, for lack of a better term. You can jump right into episode 1 if you just care about like the characters and the plot there. But if you actually want to know like mechanically what you're doing, that's what the 0 is for.
That's right, folks. Even the listeners do not get to escape session 0 of a D&D campaign.
Is this like when Michael Seglain says you can jump right into something?
We're not doing this.
Listen, this is a great
jumping on point.
D-Squad here is a great jumping on point for the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, D-Squad is actually, I will say that D-Squad is actually arguably a good jumping on point for Dark Droids. You should go back and read Dark Droids *1 afterwards, but we'll get into it. But should this maybe have been earlier in the release schedule for this event?
Here we go. We're talking reading orders already.
I'm going to get a DM from Trev in 2 weeks when he listens to this episode, but or a week and a half, whatever. Anyways,
because this takes place right after, it splits right out of Dark Droids *1.
Yes, but the Ajax story I think takes place like right before.
We can get all to this.
Yeah, sorry, we're jumping the gun.
You can see how excited we are to talk about this. It is a great issue. But before that, what has everyone been up to? What are you all reading right now? Besides, Dark Droids.
I'm getting really close to finishing off the Legends. The Cad Skywalker series. Why am I still in
Cade Legacy?
Yeah, Legacy, Star Wars Legacy. I'm about maybe 8-ish episodes away, or issues away from finally completing it. So it's good. It's good in a really, I feel like I say this every time I bring it up. I went through the first 34, 35 issues about a year or so ago. Now I'm finally picking it back up and trying to complete it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's interesting in a lot of like kind of early 2000s grunge. Like I feel like I need to have some like really butt rock playing in the background while I'm reading this.
It's pretty hardcore. I have not, because I went through all my Dark Horse stuff lately. I got to the end of Vector for all the series, and I haven't picked it back up since. So I think I'm like
stopped
around halfway through Legacy 1-ish. But yeah. Anything else that's been on your I guess currently reading?
This seems weird, but I'm also kind of doing the exact same thing with another comic book of Invincible.
Oh yeah, great book.
I went through like the first like 100 chapters and put it down, and now I'm like finally picking it back up. I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually really good. So, fun fact: the best-selling comic book of all time, and now smash Amazon hit is really good.
Yeah, it's solid. Years ago, I think I've got through like the first 10 volumes, and then I had never found the next one at Half Price Books or McKay's, and so I've been off the wagon for years, but I would love to get back into it at some point.
Yeah, I feel like those like the seminal like indie like your Invincibles, your Sagas, all that kind of stuff. They've been like something I need to pick up eventually, but I don't have like the ease of just like Marvel Unlimited. Here we go. I'm gonna go read 50 issues.
Well, I feel like what I like about Invincible is it captures like the entire like long running like massive like multiverse spanning like stock comic book story, but there's no like ancillary products you have to read. You just have to read the one source.
Yeah, for the most part, there's some spin-offs, but I don't think they're not like necessary reading.
Exactly.
It's the first issue of Invincible is one of my favorite first issues to any book ever. Like it jumps in so good. Plus Ryan Otley is a fantastic artist. Yeah, great book.
Nice. Yeah, I guess personally for my reading, I finished From a Certain Point of View, Return of the Jedi like 2 or 3 days ago. I got Tales of Light and Life done in like 2 days. So that's been most of my reading.
Short stories.
Yeah, lots of short stories. Tales of Light and Life, I really loved. Like with Return or From a Certain Point of View, I think it's the same story as all From a Certain Point of Views. There's like about 10 stories that I adore, and then 30 stories that I'm like, that was pretty fun. So
yeah, I've got like 4 or 5 left in there, and there haven't been any that I hated.
Yeah, no,
so that's good. Praise.
I think like of the ones you have left, I really enjoyed. Let's see. I really enjoyed. Brotherhood's good. Obviously, I thought that this version of the Will story is the best one.
Oh, cool. I've liked all those. I mean, they're silly as hell.
The meta jokes are really like. I was like, oh, they're going for it this time. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and also like I know you're doing audiobook or back and
mostly,
forth. Yeah. The audiobook of the Will's chapters is always super fun because it's Mark Thompson and Jonathan Davis going back and forth. So, but outside of reading for a collecting note, I can't remember if this was before or after our last recording, but I got the first volume of the Dr. Aphra 2020 Omnibus, which again is very confusing on why they stopped where they did. They stopped at 25 issues. Like issues like 12 through like 16 are in the War of the Bounty Hunters Omnibus. Like it's strange. We still don't know what they're doing for Crimson Reign or Hidden Empire, nor have they announced any omnis for any of the other 3 series. So we're in a weird spot. I think my personal like prediction now is that maybe they weave more of like the remaining Spark Eternal stuff into like a Hidden Empire, or like there might be another way where to put them, because like the Spark Eternal is becoming very important in like the broader non-Aphra story. But I don't know. It would
just be nice for Omni collectors who picked up War of the Bounty Hunters, which is very much Act 1 of Kira's story,
right,
to be able to
get the other 2.
I don't buy the Omnis for the most part. I've got the High Republic one coming.
Yeah, that's next month. Yeah,
but yeah, it's questionable.
Yeah, as long as they get 1, get everything, and 2, don't like triple dip. I'll be happy. But that is kind of a tall request, honestly, at this point.
Well, I just got the new Bounty Hunters trade paperback, which that puts me. I'm several issues behind. but I started it today, and I enjoy bounty hunters. I'm not as Valence Nation as you are. My problem with it is there's always so much going on. There's so many characters that like I had to grab the previous one to try and remind myself, and so then I end up basically rereading that whole thing.
Yeah, you're also like you're kind of at a point where like the team is fluctuating. So I feel like you're like losing half of the characters, adding like 4 more. Spoiler alert: one of them's gonna die, and like very soon. They're very much like a here's your red shirt character.
You were talking yesterday about reasons to read bounty hunters, and you forgot to mention on the cover of this newest volume is Inferno Squadron.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's like she was also on the cover of the last volume,
and she's not in there at all.
It's a variant cover, which normally is fine, but if you put the variant on the trade, she should be in there.
That was because those were
a Revelation.
The Revelations variants. Yeah. So it's like here's what's coming up next, and they decided to put. It's a beautiful cover, but they decided to put that as the trade paperback cover. And it was like, so they were teasing Iden Versio coming up in the future of the story, but she is not anywhere in the trade paperback she first appears in.
And so I haven't gotten to her and her Inferno Squad's part of the story yet, but I'm very excited for that because I love that book, love the game.
Yeah.
And then outside of Star Wars, I got to plug, as if it's some small indie company, but Ultimate Invasion by Marvel Comics, Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch. I was a huge fan of the Ultimate Universe like 10 years ago.
When it came out.
Yeah, it came out, geez, in 2000 it started. Yeah, so it was 23 years ago Ultimate Spider-Man started. Ooh. It was like my gateway to comics. It was my obsession for many years. It ended in 2015. They announced Hickman's kept bringing it back. Now, it turns out it's looking like it's like a whole new thing.
Ultimates 2?
Yeah, basically like Ultimate Universe 2.0. But
Secret
they announced
Wars
yesterday
3.
They announced yesterday that he and Marco Cicchetto are doing the new Ultimate Spider-Man, which is fantastic. I've always wanted to read Hickman doing Spider-Man, and Cicchetto's like one of the best in the business. I miss him on Star Wars. He did Phasma and
he did Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Right? He did Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Oh yeah.
He's
great.
Insanely good. He's done I think a lot of covers. I'd love to get him back on Star Wars, but I'm happy to read some Ultimates with him. So that's what I've been reading and what I'm looking forward to reading.
Yeah, you and Eric are gonna be all on Ultimate Spider-Man when it comes back.
I'm gonna be
insufferable.
Yeah, I am gonna be insufferable. More so than usual, maybe.
All right. Well, with all that, we actually have a decent amount of news we can hit this week. So first one up is a new Star Wars Visions. We talked, I think, last episode or the episode before about the Star Wars Visions Peach Momoko issue and kind of what this is going to be. We're doing different one-shots that are artist/writer, like one person led issues. So Peaches was an original story, but this one is from Takashi Okazaki, who I looked up. He did Afro Samurai, or at least parts of Afro Samurai. Cool. So this story is a prequel to the season 1 Visions episode, The Duel, also known as what spun off into the Ronin novel. So it's coming before that. So we have gotten, for this kind of character, we've gotten the episode, the Ronin book, the original Visions one-shot, which was also about his character, and now this Takashi Okazaki one-shot. So getting quite a bit of Visions. And he also got a Funko Pop, which is pretty wild for like...
Did he really?
Yeah.
For someone who doesn't really have a name.
Yeah. Well, he has a name. I don't remember what it is.
It's the Ronin.
It's like I think they tell you what his name is at like the very end of the book.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. Now, that said, I don't necessarily expect them to like adhere to any canon.
No, I doubt it.
Because I think it's following the spirit of Visions, and then it's just like tell your own story.
Right. Yeah, I think it makes sense to like let them go with it. We don't need a Ronin canonicity. Right. I don't think
we don't need a timeline of where everything falls in.
Yeah. Don't get Trev started.
We'll get it. Because the book adapts the episode, right?
Yeah, but it gives you
partly
the book. Yeah. Okay.
In the book, the episode is like the first chapter, and then it like continues going on, and it also tells you a backstory over the course of,
so,
which will probably not mesh with this, but that's fine.
The first comic was really
I don't remember.
completely separate. It had a totally not Mace Windu. Yeah, it was because it was a dude with a purple lightsaber. It was cool.
And like hot baths, yeah. It was neat. I really enjoyed it, but it was definitely if you unless you were a huge fan of this character, it'd be easy to kind of forget. Like, when I saw this, I'm like, wait, I thought we just did this. Didn't we? Am I taking crazy pills? I thought we did do a Visions one shot.
Welcome to Marvel's numbering.
Yes.
Which will be wait,
hold on. The first one was also this dude.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
It will probably fit with the comic.
Is it just going to be a republishing of his?
I hope not. I doubt it.
I feel like we would have caught that.
No, because they have a new character
Hold on. Let me go back to the news, the official posting on StarWars.com, because that would be kind of okay.
Maybe because they did.
Okay, it does mention the prequel comic written by him.
So this is really probably a prequel to the comic, maybe even more so than the episode.
Maybe. That makes most sense to me.
Okay, so this it seems like maybe his first comic book that came out last year was the prequel to the episode, and this is maybe even farther before that, I think.
Okay.
So, not confusing at all. Anyways, I'm sure it'll look sick. So, I mean, that's all that really matters.
All right. We have
more news, right? And that's out. Sorry, that is out January 2024. The other one is
hopefully this will mean we'll get a trade paperback.
Yeah, at some point we should hopefully probably have enough
because that first one is still on the long and getting longer list of orphaned issues.
Random one shots that
right
they
there
decided
next
to
to
put out
Storms
there.
of Crate.
Yeah, Storms of Crate. Life Day at least got put in the Han and Chewie issue or trade paperback, I think. So, but speaking of abandoned issues, Revelations 2023 #1. So if you don't remember, Revelations 2022 #1 was an issue that came out around the Hidden Empire #2 ish. I think right around 2 or 3 of that miniseries. That was Darth Vader having force visions via the Eye of the Webbish Bog on Mustafar, and it's basically like a narratively told previews issue for comic books. So it's here's what's coming up in Star Wars, and here's what's coming up in Vader and Aphra and Bounty Hunters, but then it also teased the Anakin and a Yoda story in the Yoda mini series. It also talked a little bit, showed a little bit of the Han and Chewie mini series, and it was mainly hyping up to get into Dark Droids.
Yeah.
But now we're getting another one.
The weird thing with that book, and I assume this one will be formatted that way, versus Empire Ascendant, which was just 3 or 4 short stories.
Yeah.
It had that through line, so you can't even break it into 4 pieces to put in the different series trade paperbacks.
Yeah.
On their own, they've got this weird narration that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure where this would ever go unless because there's no.
You could put it in the back of a Star Wars trade, just
right?
Main line,
or a random Omni. It's here's a bonus. Here you got, but it's also the first one was 50 something pages, so it's a lot of space for something that's not going to be necessarily fully related to it,
right?
But so
this one looks even less related because
on the cover we have Leia. So I broke this down earlier today, personally. So obviously Leia, Vader, Luke, Lando all make sense. It's the mainline stuff. Mm-hmm. You have hooded random character below. Could be anyone. Could be Kira after Hidden Empire. Ooh. It's not really worth, I think, speculating that much. I think Jabba could be. We're just getting that much closer to Return of the Jedi that he's going to be a more focal point character. Mm-hmm. Keeve Trennis, it's just gonna be hey, she's in her High Republic run. We got to feature her somewhere.
Yeah, that one's gonna bug me.
Yeah, Thrawn. Well, I mean, we got Loden Greatstorm in the first Revelations, and
but it wasn't teasing.
Right.
the phase 2 comic or anything.
Also, as we've already established, this is a cover. Covers don't mean anything.
That is true.
Yeah.
But you at least
That
expect them all to appear in there somewhere.
I think
we literally
Kevin
just went through with this with Inferno Squad.
Yeah, well, that was a variant. I think Kevin
Yeah.
did post on his Substack that he was writing something for Revelations.
Yeah. And I saw that because there was like a list of like writers and artists. There are a lot of who you'd expect. Apparently, Ethan Sachs and Will Sliney are doing something again together, which means I guess Disney Parks is probably about to announce something because that's the only time they ever team up. But then Thrawn is a big one. I've heard people say Alliance's adaptation. I've heard people say TV show adaptation. I don't think that's the case because I looked through the entirety of the first Revelations, and the only thing that was maybe an adaptation is there's this giant 2-page splash, and it's just like all these characters like floating in space. And there's one that could be IG-11, but it was like his signature, like 2 arms out move. I'm like, it's probably him, but like, that was literally it. Like one figure, a tiny figure in a giant, like splash page out of 50 something pages.
Yeah.
I don't think they put him on a cover just for an adaptation.
Well, especially if they go the like narrative through line thing, it would be weird to be like, whoever's having the vision or whatever to be thinking about the Ahsoka series.
Right. And that's why whoever's having the vision, I think this is going to be a Mace Windu with the cover design, a Mace Windu experiencing a Shatterpoint-y type thing of maybe experiencing all these characters through the Force that way. That's my guess.
That's wild.
That could make sense. Maybe it's the mysterious figure in the bottom there.
It could be them as well. Who knows?
Well, I mean, instantly my thought is that it's Jabba, right?
Jabba's high.
I know it makes
too many
no
frogs,
sense, but he's right in the middle. He's like the spider in the middle of the web.
He is the Shatterpoint.
Maybe it's like, look at how all these characters interacted with Jabba over the course of Jabba's big.
It could be like the Tales from the Rancor Pit.
Yeah, in fact, that actually makes a lot of sense because all of them.
He's been alive for everyone.
I mean, Keeve hasn't met him, but she's worked with the Hutts.
Right.
I don't think he showed up in Volume 1.
I don't think he did, but like
they definitely mentioned him.
Well, and there's also in he wasn't there, but in War of the Bounty Hunters, when the Hutt Council's meeting, like one of them's like asleep and like talking about Lena. So like, so I mean, there's
yeah. That was a cool
there's enough like how many degrees of Jabba the Hutt are you?
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the interesting things I saw from the article, or they posted an article announcing it, and then they also posted their solicits because this comes out in December. December 20th is when this is supposed to drop.
Nice.
One of the like bullet points, mostly they don't mean anything, but it's like it says, quote, from the High Republic, obviously Keeve to the original trilogy, and beyond. So I know. Maybe we're finally kind of pushing. Obviously, Mace Windu's in there, so he doesn't fit either of those categories. So that could be the beyond. But like
Thrawn,
maybe we're finally. Well, Thrawn, was around for parts. Or no, he wasn't actually. Never mind.
He was far away.
He was on Peridia. But maybe we're finally doing things outside of where we've been for the past.
Yeah,
maybe it's Ray. Maybe Ray's there in the bottom.
Yeah, that would be insane.
That's what's Broom Boy's name? Tamari Black.
Yeah. Where's Jaikel?
Yeah. Oh god. In fact, so having read Light and Life, Phase 3 I think has like the Hutts are gaining power. Is one of the things.
Yeah, probably with the Keeve story.
Yeah, so I think that the Hutts are going to maybe it's not a vision Jabba's having, and it's just sort of a Tales of Jabba's Palace kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could go a lot of different ways. I'm interested to see, I guess because I think the 2022 one was just like, hey, Dark Droids is coming up. Here's all these things. And then now it's like, we are probably very close to like a pretty seismic shift in Star Wars comics publishing. Like we can only keep doing this for this post Empire Strikes Back stuff for so long,
especially because I feel like they're really on the tail end of that year. Like they got through the year really quick, and now they're just like taking baby steps.
And also, like we're starting to I mean, not to jump too far ahead, but we're starting to like publish issues at a pretty frantic. I don't know if it was like we had delays and we're getting caught up, but like we have a few series that are publishing like issues like 2 weeks apart.
Yeah.
It's Dark Horse all over again.
It's a rebirth DC. We're just,
Yeah.
boom, every other week, $3 issues.
Gotta keep that supply chain coming.
4 Superman comics a month.
Oh,
you're gonna pay for it. But anyways, a decent amount of news, but I think we should probably maybe jump into our main topic of discussion this week, and that is D Squad, George Lucas's favorite Clone Wars story, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
A Dark Droids event title.
Very good book.
Man.
This was a lot of fun. Yeah. So written by Mark Guggenheim, pencils from both Salva Espin and David Messina, and then colors from Israel Silva and Brian Valenza. So we have just a bit of a heads up. We have the D Squad proper issue, which is you got R2, you got Chopper, you got Whack 47, you got a random RX droid, all going on, and 000, all going on some silly hijinks. And then you also have the Book of Ajax, which is like a backup B story that tells you kind of the origin and the whole story of Ajax, also Ajax Sigma, which is why we were kind of like making comments earlier about maybe this should have gone earlier, but we'll kind of work our way through it, starting with the D Squad portion of the issue.
Absolutely. Yeah. So again, we have 2 issues. Last time we checked on R2 was when he was when he was stranded in space after being kicked out of the airlock by a corrupted C-3PO. So he's just kind of wandering through the poor space there. He's doing his best to navigate space, ping-ponging across asteroids until he latches onto a friendly ship piloting by his old D-Squad ally, Whack 47. Jumping from that to the planet Igo, R2 attempts to enlist the help of his fellow rebellion hero, C110P. Good old Chopper. It's a lot of fun seeing these two like butt heads against each other. Chopper, of course, is on a secret mission, but he does decide to point R2 into the direction of a murderous protocol droid that everyone has seen up. So he commandeers a shuttle to the planet of Galos, where he finds a giant crowd fleeing from a deadly, angry protocol droid, 000, who's just in the mood for a little touch of murder.
I mean, it's classic for his character.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great.
So yeah, this was a lot of fun. We showed a little bit of it. You have like a page and a half of because Whack 47 is like the only one that speaks basic or English for like the vast majority of the issue. So you just have R2 and Chopper just going back and forth, just beeping and booping.
It's such an easy gag and one that shouldn't work.
But it does.
Yeah. I mean, the issue opens with, I think, 8 pages of R2.
Of R2 just like floating in space.
Floating in space, beeping.
It's great.
There's no dialogue. There's no translation. It's like the holiday special, but with R2.
Yeah. It's like you're going to have to suffer through 15 minutes of Wookiee before you get to any English. Or Shriwook. But nope. It's that was droids, but it works. Yeah, it's
very if you're all about like a words per page kind of thing, then this might not be your issue. But I had more fun than I would have expected with this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like it helps that it like the tone of this is kind of like light and charming. It's like, oh, just the droid episodes. We're going to have a lot of like wacky hijinks and like we're going to turn the cartoonishness up like 3 or 4 notches.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely goes for
Rebels or
the original D Squad.
Yeah, Clone Wars droid episodes. Which I guess we should go ahead and mention for D Squad episode fans, there is one sadly missing person here, and that's there's no Meeber Gayscon.
Yet.
Yeah.
We still have 3 issues left? Yeah.
Yeah, but
we got time.
Let's be honest. He would have stuck with the Empire. Like
he probably ended up in like whatever, like the wherever Cyril works in Andor, like the like standards bureau or whatever. That's where Meeber Gascon probably is.
Yeah. I can't see the Empire putting up with having this diminutive little alien.
True. But I also Whack 47. I mean, we picked up right where we left off. It feels like I think he is like, still the same goofy little pit. Like it literally calls him a DUM dumb series pit droid.
Exactly. Like he was delivering, what do you say, like hygienic wipes to Home One. That's his.
Yeah.
He said he's on a toilet paper run for them.
And Archie's like, okay, can you take me back to Home One? He's like, well, now I'm behind on schedule, so I have to skip them to stay on schedule. And it's like, what?
Also, just like it's so cool that he's like with the rebellion, you know?
Yeah.
Like that is a question. Like how did he make that jump? Do you think he just like a soldier of poor circumstance and got mixed up with it? Just like, you know, he delivered something to the wrong place and suddenly, well, I'm in a rebellion now.
I mean, just by being a pit droid, there is a non-zero chance that he's friends with Pelimoto, which means he could know R5,
that
who
is
we
true.
know is in the rebellion.
I feel my answer, or like my headcanon, is that he, like, shortly after the D Squad mission, he got like decommissioned because he is a pit droid in the Grand Army of the Republic, and you know, as the rebels do, picking up like scrapped ships and all kinds of random junk to like be a hodgepodge group of rebels. They probably picked up a decommissioned WAC 47 at one point. It's like, yeah, sure, dude. I guess you can pilot this giant like freighter back and forth the hygiene sheets.
Yeah,
like, you know, for the cause. But yeah, so
that was the first half and kind of the wacky fun part of the episode. Then we got something a little bit more. More dour, the Book of Ajax here. As he flashes back and remembers the first rebellion was this the Kligson's Moon. And it's put down by
1977 reference from the original Marvel comics. It's the Droid World or Droid Moon issue, which I've not read yet. I need to do that. I feel
like, and Bounty Hunter is also one in a character from there, I think.
That is correct. Well, you actually, I think I don't know that you see it in the Book of Ajax itself, but when we like get to the rapid fire section at the end, I'll kind of.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Jedi of the High Republic, led by Loden Greatstorm, front and center here, puts down poor Ajax and his rebellion there in a pretty unfortunate and brutal way. Many centuries later, he is reassembled by those who are still loyal to him. What he started still had echoes out there. But as he's reassembled, he starts preaching a new type of maybe we shouldn't just kill all organics. Maybe on our little hideaway, it's okay to be passive and peaceful here and no longer have to kill anyone who comes across this. It doesn't go terribly well because he goes immediately back to Kligson's Moon. Ajax is confronted by the angry locals there who are not too happy to see like the terrorist of 100 years ago return. So he kills them all in return. Luke Skywalker then comes across them. The two battle, but Ajax shows regret for his murderous ways and then retreats away.
This was a very interesting. Well, again, this could have maybe gone earlier in the event because unless you're paying very close attention to all the comics over the past year, you might not have really known much of this because. I think what this does very well is it actually weaves, it tells some original story, but also weaves every sort of Ajax nugget we've gotten over the past year into this. So like you see the Loden fight, which was teased in the first Revelations issue. You see Han Solo and Chewbacca mess around with him, which was in the Han and Chewie miniseries. Him being reconstructed, I think was also in Revelations. And then him with Luke Skywalker is like, I can't even, like, I tried to find the issue before because I like remembered it like a couple weeks ago and I couldn't pin down what issue is in because it's like a random one, like after an event where he just like comes on like a downed freighter or something like that. And it's like, there's this like,
I don't even see it on the Look as an appearance for him. So maybe you're just misremembering.
Yeah, it sounds like it should be there, and while I was reading this, I'm like, "Why is Luke here?" Like, this seems like
it happened before.
Is it not in Dark Droids 1?
No, I'm talking like around like the Kesserit fleet kind of type.
Okay, because I'm a little behind on the mainline run outside of the event tie-ins.
Yeah, it's probably like pre-issue like 35 or something like that.
He still has his yellow saber in that one, and it still doesn't look all whacked.
True.
But yeah, it was like a random issue where like they come across like a distress signal or something like that, and he pops aboard and everyone's dead, and this like Ajax is there, and that was like one of the first times we had run into him, and I was like, oh, okay, and then that now we're like finally coming back around and incorporating that into his journey of like basically becoming a priest droid at the end, which is where we catch him in Dark Droids #1, which is like there's the little editor's bubble at the bottom. It's like, this is on sale now. So it's like, it doesn't seem like it was like a weird like delays kind of got things out of order, because it has always been really supposed to release that way. But yeah, like this is kind of,
you've got the first story which directly follows Dark Droids 1.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that they just needed somewhere to put this Book of Ajax.
I feel like if they do an Omni of this, the Book of Ajax might be put somewhere else.
Like a prologue.
I mean, like they put like with the War of the Bounty Hunters Omni, they put like the Jabba the Hutt issue first, and that was released like 2/3 of the way through the event.
Right.
So it's always possible. But yeah.
It looks like, I'm just flipping through Revelations here. It looks like we see him and Luke in Revelations together. So maybe that's what it's from.
Well, so Revelations was probably teasing it for then, and when it came up after that, so it would be a like post or mid Hidden Empire-ish issue of the series.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. At some point I will find whatever like 3 panels this was in. But yeah.
So yeah, basically this is like a condensed retelling of his
origin, which I think is very helpful, because again, like you had to be reading everything and not just the main lines, and paying very close attention to understand who this dude was. I mean, like even before, like I like wrote an article for the website being like, that was like here's what you need to know before Dark Droids. And I like wrote it and I'm like, wait, because I wrote it like, oh yeah, Ajax is the bad guy. And I'm like, hold on. Is he?
Yeah.
Like I had to like reread everything.
They want him to be the bad guy. He's definitely set up as a bad guy.
I think he is the
like
righteous. I mean,
like he was definitely like in that space. I feel like he's now like misguided, and let's go ahead and get into it. Like he definitely says like, listen, before he left for the moon, he's like, listen, I'm not about that whole murder lifestyle anymore. And the moment he gets down and meets any resistance, like, I just started killing all the organics.
Well, he's even like, I try not to, but like, I kind of like, they kind of forced my hand. Like, it was either like, I was not able to, like, I tried to like fend them off, but there's so many of them that like, that was the only thing that was going to come out of it. Like they were going to rip him apart, or he was going to have to kill them.
But there's also like a point where like Luke says like, so you defended yourself all the way into their ship.
Oh, well,
you pursued them. You defended yourself all the way, chasing them down into their ship.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll definitely see more. I think we'll understand this, like who exactly he is, because he's like talks about how he's, I've evolved to the point where I don't think killing everyone is the right way about it. Like we are, like he's like, I'm fine with being like an isolationist, basically, where like we can like stay, like we can the enlightened droids can like basically stick to themselves, and everyone else can kind of figure it out, but eventually. So I think once we see Ajax and the Scourge kind of interact with each other, it'll make a lot more sense on like where they stand.
I think that's going to end up being the big conflict climax, is the two of them duking it out. Like philosophically.
So I was going to say, I can't wait to see all the speech bubbles. Like, that sounds satirical, but like, I do think they are two very interesting worldviews of like, we must consume everything and turn everything into droids versus, we've tried that. It's okay for droids to be their own thing. I feel like this is going to be a really interesting, maybe not quite on the level of like Magneto versus Charles Xavier, but kind of on the same sort of bent here,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting because like you have the potential for lots of different, I guess, factions facing each other between the Scourge and Ajax, and it seems like D Squad is going to probably be teaming up with Ajax, I think, based on some of the covers, if I remember correctly. And then, the Empire and the Rebels probably just trying to survive, if we're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone with a cyborg friend trying to get them out alive.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you, Lando. So speaking of, D Squad and all like that, like let me pull back up the cover here. Like who's left on for the D Squad here? Okay. We're going to get 000, right?
Yeah, 000.
So who we're left with is BT1. We don't know when he's going to come in. IG-88, who is the last time we saw him at the end of War of the Bounty Hunters, where he has like an existential crisis. Have we not seen him since then?
No. He came back in like the Vader, I want to say, and just like started killing a crap ton of dudes in Vader.
I thought that was during War of the Bounty Hunters, or was that Crimson Reign?
That was after.
He was in one of the issues I read today, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's back. He's back in it. No, I think he's in Bounty Hunters. Makes sense. He's back in Bounty Hunters.
Anyways, I do have an answer to where Forlom is. They basically, I guess, for the issues that have also come out during the past 2 weeks, one of them was Bounty Hunters 38. Valance is going through that again. He's not having a good time right now.
Valance, I feel like he's like the saddest boy.
He can never have a good time.
He got his mind wiped, but hey, the new artist is popping off. So I was a little scared because Paolo Villanelli was so good, but the new one doing really good work. Anyways, they are on Cligson's moon with Cligson. Cligson's supposed to restore Valance's memories, and then he's evil. He's going to wipe Valance's memories and basically make him like a killing machine.
New host for Cligson.
And then what happens is Forlom and Zuckuss are trying to figure out what's going on. So they're on their own going through the base, and a bunch of Scourge droids come through with all the little parasite ones, all the little discs. And Zuckuss sends Forlom out the airlock or out a escape pod. So he basically got the same R2 treatment that he just got sent off into space, and I'm sure he will connect with D Squad in issue 2, I would guess. We're slow. It is weird because you have to get the gang together really quickly since you only have 4 issues.
And this is such a wacky gang here. Now here's the next question. Do you think next issue of D Squad will also have a book of Ajax, or do you think they'll
I think that's a one-time thing.
My guess is that, and one, because it says the story continues in
Dark Droids number 1 instead of D Squad 2.
Also because the solicit doesn't say anything about it, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think so. It does feel weird having it. I mean, I know he's a droid, so it makes sense to put in the droid book, but as cool as that story was, I don't really understand the placement of it here.
The Book of Ajax, or
why it's in this why it's a backup to this wacky droid tale.
Right.
I said maybe it's they had a cliffhanger here, and well, let's just go ahead and put the end of the issue here, so that next issue we can have all the meat and bones and don't have to have a weird stopping point in the middle again.
Yeah, maybe. Or they just had this story that needed to go somewhere, and
it's
$6 for this if we put it here.
The total comic count is with the covers and everything is 33 pages long. So I guess hey, we didn't have quite enough. The D Squad number 1 wasn't quite long enough, so we can fit in another.
We already put 8 pages of R2 in space.
Right,
yeah,
we're talking about how
you
got to get the team back together quickly, but then we're going to spend half the issue just giggling about R2.
And also, the 2 of the team members did not show up. They're we're not coming with you. It's just R2 by himself.
Yeah.
So the nice thing is, Mark Guggenheim has now done. He's been Charles Soule's writing the main Dark Droids issues, but he's done quite a bit of it. He's did the Han and Chewie miniseries that helps set it up. He did the original Revelations issue. He is doing this now, obviously. So he's contributing quite a bit to I guess the history and who Ajax is. So it's kind of cool to see a through line there, creative wise, in addition to Charles Soule writing basically everything. We got someone else that's doing good with it, and he's also, it seems there's a lot of writers credited on the next Revelations, but I think he's going to be the primary one on that again based on how it's solicited. So but yeah, I am very interested to see where, I think we all enjoy this issue. It's just okay, how can we logically see this going forward?
I can't wait for I'm just looking at this lineup here. I'm I don't know who I want to see interact with more with, Whack 47 and 000, or Chopper and the Blastromech droid, BT1. There's so many crazy combinations here of these larger than life droid characters here to interact. It's there's too much character here for one issue,
I am kind of curious if all of the droids end up being part of the final team, because I remember there's something they had put out at one point, and they didn't it didn't have everyone in the list that was on the first cover, and everyone's like, why didn't you mention Chopper? And Chopper's not in any of the solicits or any of the remaining covers.
Listen, maybe Chopper just leaves. Maybe
that was just like we got a silly cameo of Chopper for funsies, and he's not actually part.
Yeah, because Chopper didn't go with R2 as far as we know.
Well, neither did Whack 47.
The Whack, I think, is at least in the corner maybe of the third cover. I'm kind of like flipping through them all again. Yeah. He shows up on variants, but I don't count that. But we are going to get QTKT, the pink R2 droid.
Sweet, nice. Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
What I'm curious to see is like if this is going to be other than the Book of Ajax, like if this is going to be a crucial read or just like a fun side story, because I'm good either way with it since
right.
Because like Marvel events when they do like going back to like Civil War and Secret Invasion and Avengers vs. X-Men and all that, they'll have a ton of tie-ins, and then there's always inevitably like the Deadpool book, which doesn't really matter for the event, but it's like
they're
on the edge of the X-Men and Avengers fighting, and Deadpool just being a goofball. And those can be fun.
I think it might be. I honestly think it might end up being more of the latter, where it's just a little goofy but fun.
Like I'm trying to picture Dark Droids number 5 being like an Avengers Endgame moment where
Chopper comes to the portal.
Yeah,
I mean maybe that's a secret mission.
It's like Whack 47 comes out and like the Wakanda X's and everything like that. Yeah, it'd be pretty sick. I do think I'm really happy, at least so far, with how the mainline series are handling it, because like it's not like duplicative like it was in War of the Bounty Hunters, where like they're kind of like telling stories twice in some issues, and they're way too overlapped, but it's not like so far removed.
Stories twice. It was like you got to read page 8 of this book and then jump to page 4 of this book.
I think it's like War of the Bounty Hunters 2 and like Afra like 13 were the same issue basically.
Yeah,
just with like Afra had a few extra panels, but like it's not that densely overlapped where you're kind of getting extra like the same content twice, and it's not like as so far removed as Crimson Reign, where like if you were just like, let's say you were just reading Darth Vader and you just didn't pay attention to what happened in the Crimson Reign miniseries, you'd probably be okay. Like it was like, so it's just like hey, these other things are happening right now. This seems a lot more of like the events are affecting each other. Like, you see Forlom being sent off. You're seeing Clixon's moon in Bounty Hunters. And actually I was reading some of the solicits ahead for D Squad. They are going to run into EV 99, which we're seeing right now in Star Wars. Like,
that's cool.
It seems like the issue, the event is eventing, and I'm kind of, I'm excited to see how they handle it.
Yeah, and I feel like they're doing a good job because, like, hey, these droids are now going rogue and having a massive hive mind. Like, I feel like as sci-fi readers, as science fiction fans, as Star Wars fans, like we get that trope. We've seen that before, so it's like, oh, we don't need a whole lot of pre-work to like establish why this is happening. We just know it's kind of like a zombie plague. It's like we know what's going on now.
Yeah, I think also like they just probably like War of the Bounty Hunters was so like unprecedented for like Star Wars that I think they've just like had a lot of learning and growing as like a creative team and a like publishing team of like finding like the right balance of handling events like this. Since we've gotten 4 in a 2-year span.
Exactly. I was about to say they haven't let up on it, but
we have not stopped.
Speaking of the team makeup, what I'm really curious and what I've been curious about since the announcment is to like see how they get 000 and BT to join. I mean, they don't hate droids, obviously, so. But they're bad guys, right?
Right.
So like, I guess they want their freedom, so they don't want to get taken over by the Scourge. But
I feel like that's how they're going to do it. It's like, hey, like, why don't we just take out this thing that could take rid of your
I think it's gonna be the same thing that you always do with 000. It's like, hey, 000. Yes. Do you want to murder people? And he's like, of course.
Yeah,
like,
I would love
like
to
every time. Also, like I don't know if you have it here. I guess I can send it in our chat just so you all can see it quickly. The cover for issue 4, it kind of looks like they're inside Darth Vader's meditation chamber.
Oh, you're right. I see that there.
Like at the top of the frame.
It does look like Vader just woke up and he's staring down all these droids.
I mean, the solicit says they're going into the palace of Jabba the Hutt, so maybe not, but like, it's interesting. We'll see.
It's fun. And as we saw, long established, covers are always
accurate.
Yeah, they're all the most reliable. Okay. Shout out Silver Age Comics. You will never lie to me based on your cover. Superman will die in every issue. It's fine.
Exactly. Man, there's a lot going on in this issue here. There's some of course, there's 33 pages, so that helps a lot here. One thing I do want to shout out is that the planet they go to, Ego. Ego. Like that showed up previously in the Clone Wars, actually. But that, like, if you ever look into like the plot, like some things that planet had in Legends, that was a wild planet. Like,
was it probably in Galaxies or something? I would guess.
Maybe, but like I have a book for the role playing thing where they talk about Geonosis and the Outer Rims, and there's like several pages about that place. It's like Maroon Central, like there's like 40 moons, all with a different environment. They have like Force space dragons there that inhabit space there. Here's a kind of important thing. When Anakin is telling Padme,
the Phantom Menace. That's what I know it from.
Yeah, that's
the angels on the moons of Ego.
Exactly. It's that planet.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I don't know if I have too much else to say of this. We did see an RX unit, which is always fun. Shout out. Oh gosh, what's the ride at Disney World?
The
Star Tours.
Star Tours. Yeah.
Star Tours.
Which I don't think this is that specific one.
Yeah, no, it's not that RX droid, nor is it probably the RX droid that is the DJ in Oga's Cantina. But
it could be.
Hey, well, does it have an actual designation, a full designation in this one? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But
I mean, seeing those is always cool. Plus, I feel like we haven't talked really at all about how like we got High Republic content in this, which is kind of wild, and not just Luke being like, "Oh, I found something from the High Republic." It's like, no, that's Loden and these 5 other Jedi that we've never met.
Oh yeah, and it's like that was like when the first Revelations came out. It's like there's this one tiny panel with like a half-inch tall Loden Greystorm. You're like,
yeah.
What?
Right.
It's like green Twilight from the High Republic with a yellow lightsaber. What is going on?
Technically, I think we talked about this last time. They didn't actually name him, but it's Loden.
It's Loden Greystorm.
It's absolutely Loden.
And so now, like, I know that this is giving us that story, but I would love to see like an actual telling of the story, whether it's a comic later down the line or what.
Yeah. Tales of Light and Life 2.
But to see it from Loden's point of view.
Right. Because there's something there.
I saw someone was like, oh God, who's the Jedi, the old Jedi from the Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order game? Sears Master.
Yeah.
Like the dude on the left looks like him. I was like, I mean, he is a
but I don't
fair skinned dude with a beard. I don't think it's not him, but I mean, like, yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
We got that. We got a Doatan Jedi. We got a Zabrak Jedi. We got I don't know what the one in the back's supposed to be. Yeah. I don't know, Mirialan or something.
Mirialan, yeah.
Yeah, she could be.
Maybe. Who knows?
I'm looking at it a little closer. Looks like it.
We will probably never see these 4 characters ever again, but it's fine.
I don't know.
They look dope. Yeah, that's true. The book 2 of Ajax.
I mean, it's just with how they are with the High Republic, it would be weird that they just threw 4 random designs in.
Right. Hey, if we ever get another art book.
Oh God. The art book does have a volume 1 on the spine. Does have volume 1.
Don't get too excited though.
Knock on wood.
There were some pretty cool like droid designs. Like it's nice that like they have a lot of options to kind of like go crazy with it. Like they had the New Republic security droids from Mando in one of the panels.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff.
We got that. We got, obviously KX droids. You got B2s. You got probe droids. There's like, I know there's a giant connecting variant connecting cover for, I think, Dark droids. That's like just probably like 60 plus different droids.
I think it's for D Squad.
Is it?
So all of the 4 issues.
No, it's Dark Droids.
Okay, it is. All right. Either way, yeah, it's really cool that like if you're a droid lover, this there you go. Then
Right.
this is just like
Maybe
fuel
I'm wrong.
for you.
I don't know. Anyways, does anyone else have anything they want to hit on with Dark Droids? D Squad before
D Squad
Dark Droids :
Again.
Return.
We are waiting. We are eagerly awaiting Meeber Gascon.
That's all I was going to say. Is we want our boy Meeber.
When BT1 shows up, if Meeber does not pop out of his head, imagine if Meeber was in BT1 for the last eight years.
Time, like that's his thing. That would be sick. The thing, is that like they didn't just pick D Squad out of a hat. Like they obviously went back and rewatched the episodes. So they've talked about Meeber.
Yeah. They talked about Meeber. They talked about Gregor. They talked about definitely not Jackson's skeleton.
Yeah. So like that they had a discussion whether or not Meeber could be in the story.
Yeah.
And that means if he doesn't fit in the story, they know what his story could be.
Honestly, I feel like the most if he was ever going to show up, the most likely way for him to appear would be like Whack 47 finally makes his delivery of sanitation wipes at the end to Home 1, and Meeber's the one receiving.
That would be great. Yeah, that would be a really killer punchline.
Yeah, again, come tag me in 3 months, and we will see how if that prediction came true.
If we're lucky, 3 months if we're lucky.
Yeah,
I mean, if what's his face from Jindy Wars can show up in one issue of Dr. Aphra.
I know what you're talking about.
The main bad guy.
Yeah, the worm.
Dirge.
Oh, he's back. He's in Bounty Hunters now.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if he can come back, so can Meeber.
But that was also insane that they here's some Dirge. They introduce him, send him, blast him into space, the same issue, and we did not see him for 2 years.
It's just like he's just been around. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, any other last thoughts on D Squad?
It's great. You should pick it up.
Yeah. I already kind of talked about Bounty Hunters 38. The other 2 issues we had in the past 2 weeks were the start of the Obi-Wan Kenobi adaptation, Obi-Wan number 1. I don't know if anyone.
Best person for the adaptation,
That's all we need to say. And Darth Vader 38, which is Vader still fighting off the Scourge. Good old I can't remember his droid off the top of my head. The droid that Caleb hates.
What's this? The
little assistant dude.
666 or something like that.
Yeah, he's
6 Sigma.
He's being silly, goofy. But that was what we had the past weeks.
I kind of actually liked that issue because was that the one where they kept trying to talk about how they're going to kill Vader?
Maybe.
I feel like
I need to reread it. I kind of forget it.
It's kind of like I liked it because it felt a little wacky. It's like, and then if we do this, then we'll definitely not kill Vader, but we'll get close. But if we, use all these powers together, then we'll get really close to killing Vader again, but we won't actually do it. It was like the they were gonna fire on the executor, and then the guy's like, I served with Piet. Piet would give me some time to figure it out. And then Vader saves the day. And then Piet turns around and blasts the other dude out of space because they had a contamination issue of the droids now. Anyways, the next 2 weeks are absolutely stacked. We have Aphra 36, Mando Season 2, Issue 4, Hyperspace Stories number 9, Darth Vader 39. Again, there's a 2 week gap. Bounty Hunters 39. There's another very short gap, and the big one, which we'll probably be talking about in 2 weeks, is Shadows of Starlight number 1. So Let's 6 issues in the next 2 weeks. I will read only 5 of them because I trade weight for Hyperspace Stories. It's fine. But yeah, still quite a bit to get through. And I think the first Shadows of Starlight might be a longer issue, if I remember correctly. They probably charge us an extra $1 anyways. Yeah.
Which, what we've seen I'm more excited for that than I've been for any Star Wars comic in a while, just because
especially Tales of Light and Life is, I think is just getting the hype going again. Yeah, it's all kind of taking really place in the same-ish time period.
And I liked Phase 2 a whole lot, but finishing Midnight Horizon, I was just like ready to continue that story, and we've been waiting now a year for phase 3 content.
Year and a half. Yeah, it's been because I think the Fallen Star.
The Fallen Star is almost 2 years old. It was January of
2022.
Yeah. So Midnight Horizon wouldn't have been far behind that.
I think like the last thing of phase 1 came out like May of that year. I think with like the weird delays of comics and like the manga.
Yeah, unless you want to count the Dark Horse Free Comic Book Day for Adventures. Which
that came out like a couple months ago. that was it. I am very happy that like all the silly things you can say about like trade paperback selections and like what they decide to bundle. I'm very happy that they did put that in the Dark Horse complete phase 1 omnibus.
It took a long time to get here, but people in America can finally get the full series of High Republic, and it's great.
Yeah,
I like that comic a lot. I just got that book this week. I haven't reread it, but it's a great collection. Yeah, no, I'm really happy to have that.
Good job.
Well,
my like crazy theory, I don't even think it's that crazy, is that second Free Comic Book Day issue was supposed to come out in 2022, and that was when IDW lost it all and they just shelved it.
Certainly possible, but I don't know. It'd be weird if they because it hadn't even been solicited or anything.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like I think,
but it's a weird thing to do if it wasn't planned, because it was a very crucial story.
Yeah, maybe it could have been like DGO had written the script for it, and like that, they just never got any farther than that.
Yeah,
and it kind of just sat on a shelf for a year and a half, and then they're finally like, okay, we can do this now with Dark Horse.
Free Comic Book Day. That's a good time to do it.
But anyways, so quite a bit to talk about. We will probably be back in 2 weeks to talk about Shadows of Starlight, unless hey, maybe
Darth Vader slaps.
Yeah, maybe Afra 36. I mean, okay, Afra, the last issue of Afra was a banger, but literally and metaphorically.
I know where you're going with that.
But anyways,
that's every issue of Afra, though.
It's
this one's a little bit more.
Anyway,
it was great. Anyways, I think that's all we got. We'll see you all in 2 weeks. But with that, let me pull the script over on a little behind the scenes. I'm going to pull the script over on the main monitor. That'll do it for this week of the Cosmic Force. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the show right here on YouTube, where you can watch us every other Wednesday. We also encourage you to subscribe to our audio version on whatever podcast platform you prefer. And hey, if it's iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and review. It really helps us out. You can also follow us on Twitter and tweet at the show at Cosmic Force Show to stay up to date with the Star Wars comics happenings, or follow us individually. I am at Jacob Bausch, and Caleb is at Caleb Laminack. For reviews, articles, and news for the rest of the wide galaxy of Star Wars, be sure to visit Youtini.com. Another special thank you to Oz for joining us this evening as well. If you want to join our Discord community and chat with like-minded fans, you can go to Youtini.com/Discord. And you can also, again, support the show on Patreon.com/Youtini and start receiving exclusive perks at just $5 a month. A special thank you to Brian Dooley, Earl Q, Carl Sander, Zach W, Michael Fry, and Raymond Baczynski on our Jedi High Council, and James T, Ashley Ingalls, Colton Fife, and Chris Carrizzo on our Alliance High Command for their excellent support. Again, thank you to Caleb and Oz for hosting with me this evening, and a special thank you to you all for tuning in. See you in 2 weeks, and may the Force be with you.